Awesome, Ronnie. Good to see you, man.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's nice to finally connect with you. It's funny because so many people know you, know your name, know your face, all this kind of stuff. And when I was talking to Reed, I'm like, man, I'd like to get my hands on that guy and just meet him. Like, it's funny you have so many fans kicking around, and then I'm starting to learn a little bit more that you do have a history in the oil and gas industry, and that was actually nice for me to find out.
Yeah, no, when I transitioned from, the NHL, basically needed to reinvent myself and find a new passion and, oil and gas sales, people work hard and get to have some fun and, make some decent money, which is always nice. I knew a lot of girls that were involved in the oil and gas, and so just pursued that and basically put my hand up and
Nice.
went to precision drilling back in the day and
Right on.
just said, hey, I need a job, like to start wherever, and that's where it all started.
But you have to do something because I've talked to so many different pro, not just hockey, but football as well. And, when they retire or leave the sport, outside of a few talking head gigs that some of them end up doing, you finish young enough. Like, you got to do something.
Yeah, you need to reinvent yourself. You need to find a new passion. And I think that's the challenge is, we always wait till you're retired and then try and figure that out. It usually takes I've done a lot of homework with this, about 3 to 5 years for people to find their way, find a new passion. And that's where it's worth your time. You can only golf so much.
I know.
I remember telling Jerome McGinley that back in the day when I had retired and chatted with him, I said, you still need to plan to find that new passion, and it's a lot easier to do it when you don't need it, right? While you're still playing and try and do the homework, put the time in, and come up with something. Everyone has an idea, but sometimes that's not their passion, so it's trial and error.
Well, I did have, even my dad, Big Dave, I think 2006, he thought, oh, I'll retire. Just at some point you get into a mood and you pack it in. And he said after about 6 months, you only take a couple cruises and you renovate your house and you buy a new truck and then you start looking around going, okay, well, now what? He said, it's no good. It's no good for my mind. He goes, I like laughing. I like mentoring. I like being around people. So he said, I'll never stop.
And that was kind of my thing was, what do you dabble in? Do you just do something to keep yourself busy? But again, you can only golf so much, fish so much. And I mean, some people fishing, that's their passion and they want to do it and they turn out to be a guide, fishing guide, right? So mechanic, if you like tinkering with vehicles, guys like, hey, I'll start a body shop, right?
Yeah.
So it's just finding what that is. And then the difference is your passion, and then financially, do you need, a lot of income, or are you set where you don't have to worry about money, and then it can just truly be a passion, right?
Well, it's funny because so many people talk about retirement as a financial conversation, and I'm like, you got it backwards, man. I said, well, you got to live. People are planning on, we're living longer, we're living better. You only live once, depending on what spectrum of the religion you follow. I think you only live once.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I just think, why not make the most of it?
No, I agree. I think it's almost an uncomfortable conversation for a lot of people, especially pro athletes. When you're playing, you're that instant gratification, that instant high that you have from completing a great play, a hit, a fight, a goal, football, catching, right, making a big play, big kick. I mean, that adrenaline, you can't really replace that. So for me, it was sales, is being able to be a part of people, an opportunity and pushing things across the finish line. The difference is the corporate world, everything tends to move at a slower pace, so you need to learn the game of patience and put the time in. And it's like when you're a kid, everyone wants to toe drag and be able to put it top shelf, but you got to learn how to raise the puck first. I'm still working on that.
I know you've been out in Calgary a while, but I wanted to ask you, why did you settle in Calgary? Because you're still here now.
Yeah, I was in San Jose. It was a pretty great setup, and same thing, right? Had some opportunities to get into radio, TV. Sharks were really good to me. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go back to Calgary. My boy's mom was here, her family was here, so a good support system for me to, I guess, find my way. I knew a lot of people in Calgary still from my years playing here, so that made the transition a lot easier, where San Jose might have been a little more difficult, right?
Right on.
Yeah.
So what would you be doing? What's next after the energy industry? Do you want to talk about burner, or what do you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, burner energy was great. I was at Precision for 15, 17 years. You know, left there, tried a couple little things that, you know, guys wanted me to come into, and then, you know, knew a few of the partners at burner and wanted to come in. I think just, again, working with a good group of guys and trying to accomplish something a lot of fun and, you know, have some success. And still working with all the people that you know in the industry. So
well,
there's
you
so
know
much
better
crossover.
than that. So much crossover. Even we were talking before we hit record, like, you know, even John at Pipestone, like, yeah, I said, talk to Ronnie, because, you know, I know you guys don't step on each other's toes, but you have all the same clients. It's like the community's that small.
It is that small, and, you know, everyone needs help here and there, and sometimes it's, you know, a little bit of influence, sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's a favor, right, where you're always reaching out to someone and making introductions, and I think that is the camaraderie for the most part in the oil and gas, and that transitions from what you had in the dressing room kind of thing.
Have you found that same community, that same brotherhood? Because you've been involved with, it's fine to say you've been a pro player for so long, but you've actually been an oil and gas in that community now for a long time.
Yep. No, just as long. So there is a lot of crossover. A lot of ex-athletes are in oil and gas. I knew a lot of the people before while I was playing. So you get to meet people. I think, you know, probably didn't keep enough close contacts, you know, while I played with the oil and gas. But I did have, like I said, it gave me the opportunity. You know, Hank Swart out at PD. I reached out to him and I was like, hey, need a job, looking to do something, and I'll start anywhere. And, you know, wanted to earn my credibility and put some time in and process. So I've learned a lot, and I'm very, you know, appreciative and thankful of that. And now it's, you know, what's the next phase? So burner energy was another opportunity, build up company, grow it, and go from there.
Yeah. Have you had your chance to, you know, put your arm around some of the younger guys coming up in the oil and gas industry?
It's funny, because when I retired, I was trying to deal with the Players Association quite a bit and the alumni, and trying to get them to recognize this transition that athletes do have. And it's a little bit of, like I touched on, redefining your purpose and your passion. And there's not enough thought that goes into it, because everyone says, well, go back to school, right?
What is it? Yeah.
Not everyone's comfortable. Yeah. You know, you're 30 years old. Do you want to go back to school, get an education? It works for some. Most have enough money where that's really not where they're going to go. So I wanted to kind of get some support rather than pick up the pieces when guys fall through the cracks. Try and get ahead of it and spend the money on those players with their contribution, and put time in to realize that there is going to be a transition period, and your passion is gone. It's
and I'd say your identity is gone in some cases.
Well, for a lot of guys, yeah. And I mean, I think you look at when you retire, you're no longer hanging with those guys. They're still playing. So then do you hold on to that? You know, again, if I went into broadcasting, TV, I would have followed the team around. So you're still holding on to that. You're still doing the same travel, you know, for a tenth of the money, and you're putting your family through it. And I think that was another point that, you know, the spouses of the athlete have had a certain way of life, and now all of a sudden you're in their
Yeah.
in their space and in their business, and so that creates a whole transition for the spouse as well.
It's funny, we talk a lot about even retirement. So I work in pipeline construction when those guys finished, and often they bail out. Again, you're all moneyed up, and it's
Yeah.
time to go, and they don't even realize it's that sense of purpose. All of a sudden, they're not part of the chaos. They're not part of the group. They're not part of the mentoring, the friendship, the laughing, the pranks, the bullshit, and there's a mental health component. So I don't know if I've ever talked to anyone in sports if they have that same issue with the mental health side when people leave.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you probably look at the divorce rate amongst athletes within 3 years of retirement, it's probably about 70%. So you can't dispute that. It's a different way of life. It's a struggle. A lot of them still looking for that high, whether it's alcohol, booze, gambling, right? So you got to be aware of it. And I think if you're aware of those landmines before you retire, it's a healthier, transition. I mean, the younger guys, I've had guys still approach me. Brent Cron has had a very successful career, and he came to me 10 years ago and wanted to work in oil and gas, and
Cool.
He's flourished. He was given the opportunity, he put the time in, worked hard, and he's had a great career. And I'm sure a lot of other people. So young kids come, and my advice is put your hand up. Be appreciative, ask for a job, and tell them you'll start anywhere because you want a career, not a job. Right?
Awesome. No, I like it. Well, I won't keep you. I'm almost out of coffee. Appreciate your time, Ronnie, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.